Monday. I am cooking. I'm starving. I haven't eaten anything really all day today. Let me get you guys cleaned up here. Looks like there's some smears up here. I hope everybody's doing well. Don't mind my little frillies. My little frillies. They're not staying down today. So I hope everybody's doing well. I'll be right back. Give me just a few moments. There we go. I think I got the frillies down. There we go. We got a little bit of better. Hey guys, it's nice to see you. We're going to be cooking today. I'm making a sausage burrito. So I just washed my hands, but I just went and did something to my hair, so I didn't have my frillies up. Still got a little frilly up, but that's okay. That's okay. Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. So we're not going to be talking about true crime while I'm cooking, but we're going to be cooking and then I'm going to be eating. So then we'll and I've got there it is. I have my second phone, so if we need to look up anything, we got the handy dandy second phone available. I'm just waiting for my sausage to start browning. Then we got eggs. I already got the cheese. I use sharp cheddar. When I was a kid, I couldn't stand eating sharp cheddar. I always had to have mild cheddar. But as I got old, my taste buds have changed. Sausage and potatoes and egg burritos. Yeah, I'm not doing potatoes. I'm not doing potatoes today. So I did make because I got the little bowl things. I don't know if you guys ever seen these. These little things right here, these are awesome. I've got 4 of them and I can make bowls out of them. And when you use the larger ones, it makes larger bowls. I'm not going to use them today. I'm going to do burritos. And when you have smaller ones, it makes smaller ones. But they're also, the smaller one's about the size of this. The larger ones stick out about, I don't know, about that much. But they still make bowls. So you can, even if you're not doing like a taco salad or something, you can still make a bowl and eat an edible bowl. So I think these things are awesome. I use them. I don't use them that much, but I'll be using them today or later today because I'm going to be making I got some hamburger, some pico de gallo, some fresh lime and cilantro. So I have some there. Great. Yes. Remains found in Kingsport. Huh? Oh boy. You guys can hear me fine? I just want to make sure you guys can hear me fine because I'm using my handy dandy mics. I never get to use them. So I want to make sure I can use them right. And I figured, well, what the heck? Now you guys can hear me running around. Good morning. Okay, great. I wonder how far away the mic will work. Maybe we'll walk back to the office and see if you guys can still hear me. I thought it was said to be a grown man. We're going to find out. Remains Kingsport. 18 hours ago. Let's listen to what we hear. Probably going to have to listen to a commercial.
Vehicle doesn't have to be overwhelming. ECU is here to help you every step of the way, so you can drive worry-free with an auto loan that fits your needs. Just visit ecu.org/auto now to get started. Eastman Credit Union.
Mark, thanks. The Kingsport Police Department is investigating the discovery of human remains in a wooded area this evening. Officers responded to the 3700 block of East Stone Drive in Kingsport about 5 o'clock. Investigators say they believe the remains to be of a male and have requested help from forensic examiners at East Tennessee State University. As the investigation continues, we will update you both on air and online as more information becomes available.
That's sad that, you know, but they say they believe it's a man. It doesn't necessarily mean, I mean, that literally is right where Layla Santinello disappeared. They said remains, so I don't know how long they've been there. You know, we don't get a whole lot, so I guess we'll have to wait to get some information on that. But at the end of the day, I'm only using a half tube of sausage in this recipe today. I used the other half tube the other day when I made bacon, egg, or sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits. So I'm down to a half a tube. So I'm not making biscuits and gravy, but I think I'm going to take some of the extra sausage and make a white gravy to kind of go on top to make it kind of a wet burrito. But we'll see. We'll see what we got left. I got two burrito shells right there. I got two burrito shells right there because I'm going to try, if I have enough ingredients here, which I should. I'm making my neighbor a burrito as well. So we'll see how it all works out. What are we cooking? We're cooking a sausage, egg, and cheese burrito. And it's because I don't feel like making biscuits. And I had burrito shells. So I decided to use the burrito shells. And it's just traditional scrambled eggs. You're going to put cheese. I'll build it for you guys, but we're going to put cheese. We got scrambled, we got eggs that I haven't whipped yet. So we got eggs that we're going to scramble. And we have two burritos that we're going to do. And then we're going to take whatever grease is left in the pan and we're going to crisp up our burrito shells after we roll them. So breakfast burritos are my favorite. I don't do them very often. I'll be honest with you. I don't do burritos very often. Well, I don't normally cook breakfast. So I don't know what's going on this morning, but usually I don't start eating until like maybe, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I usually drink a lot of water and coffee in the morning and I'm not hungry, so this is kind of a little interesting for me because I woke up starving and then I went to church hungry and then I was trying to decide how many coffee makers I really wanted in the house, and I decided that my big Keurig that was sitting over here on the side that makes my lattes, the actual latte maker, I've got a Ninja, and while it's not, a heated frother, I do have a frother on it. It's a lot more compact. So I decided to keep the Ninja and the Cuisinart, whatever, however you say it. And I'm donating the Keurig. So I just need counter space. One thing I've been looking for when I shop for everything is how I can organize. The one thing this house does not have is storage. Okay, like the back bedroom has zero closet. Well, it did. I shouldn't say that. It had a really crappy closet in there, so we tore it out. We tore it out before we moved in. It was like, it looked like it was cheap. It looked like plyboard, and I wasn't having that in my house. So that was ripped out and replaced with a dresser, but I could really use storage. So I'm looking at storage opportunities for that room. We'll see. I buy frozen breakfast burritos and have them every day. I don't buy anything frozen. I try not to, because everything that you eat from a grocery store that's already pre-made is loaded with chemicals. And that is what I'm trying to avoid, is the loading of chemicals. I forgot to turn the burner on. I guess it would help cook the meat. I'm like, why is the meat not cooking? I thought there might have been something wrong with my burner, but it's not. It's just that the cook's got to turn on the stove. I got that Ninja coffee pot. Yeah, I like it. I'm not, I'm still trying to figure out the espresso, how many pods I need for a real espresso coffee, but and their pods are much different too. They're like little single shots for your espresso. These are the pods, okay? These are the pods with the Ninja. Okay, this is the pod for the Keurig. I just want to tell you, one is a Betty pod, and one is I don't know, like a puppy pod. This looks like something I'd give Delilah, right? I mean, I'm not feeding Delilah caffeine, guys. Calm down, okay? Calm down, okay? She's got enough energy, okay? I'm not. I don't. Well, I shouldn't say that. When I went to Starbucks, they're like, "Do you want a little doggy cup?" And I'm like, "Sure. What's a doggy cup?" And they take their fresh whipped cream and they put it in a little. They put it in a little. Like a little cup, a paper cup, and they fill it with whipped cream. And so while you're sitting there waiting for your drink, she's in her little pouch on the front of me, and I got this little doggy cup, and it's whipped topping, and she just went to town on it. She thought she was absolutely in heaven. I didn't even know that Starbucks did that. I'll be honest with you, I had no earthly idea that Starbucks did that. So this is my first time going to Starbucks, I guess, with the dog not being in the car. I was inside waiting, and I can't remember where I was. It might have been when I went to Bardstown. No, I didn't have. Did I have? Yes, I did have her in Bardstown. I did take her on this last trip. That's right. She was so good too. The first room we went into, it was a good sized room. Don't get me wrong. And I had her blanket pulled out and everything like that. It was freezing, and I mean freezing cold. Okay. And I hate when that stuff gets on here. Let me get a knife. I don't need this fork anymore. And so I tried to turn on the heat, and it didn't work. And you're talking about it being like 20 degrees or 23 degrees outside. Like, it's cold. Well, maybe not that cold. Maybe it was like 40 degrees. It was still cold. It was really cold. And so they had to move me out of that room, and they ended up moving me and upgrading me to a suite, which had this couch and this huge like living room with a private TV in it. And I'm like, okay, so, Delilah and I really got to spread out there, and, we got to play. Like, that's the biggest thing, is getting the energy out of her when we're on the road. Because usually when we're driving to where we're driving, we're only stopping for gas and potty breaks. And she's kind of regulated on my potty breaks. So when I get out of the car, which is usually 2 to 4 hours, when I step out of the car, she goes, I take her first before I even gas up my car. I get her out and let her stretch her legs and walk her around so she can take care of business. Sometimes she takes care of business, sometimes she doesn't. But one of the biggest things is trying to get her to drink water when we're on this trip. She refuses to eat, and it takes like an act of Congress to get her to drink water. So it's like I almost I dip my finger in the water and rub it on her mouth just to make sure I know if she wants water, she knows it's here. And I have a little collapsible. I'll show you guys. Hold on. We have these collapsible little water bowls, right? So depending, I usually pop it out, for like a deep when I'm driving, and I just fill the bottom well here up with water. So there's a lot to keep, so the water doesn't spill in the car, but she'll always have fresh water to drink when we're on the road. I didn't do that the first time, but this last time on the way home, I figured it out, and she did drink more water with it being in that, having water when she wanted it, and just sitting it where she could get to it. And that has really been pretty interesting. She does really good. I mean, when we went up there the first time, she was a puppy, and she would not leave my lap. So this time we're training her, to be in a different seat. I tried her in the back seat. She hates being in the back seat. She likes seeing me. She's not like 100% calm in the front seat just yet. I mean, she doesn't try to cross over or anything like that, but she does whimper a lot on the roads because she wants to be in my lap. But She's starting to realize there's stuff outside the window. She's starting to get curious on where we're going and where, you know, so she's starting to look more out the window than just sitting there looking at me whimpering, because she's tried coming over once, just once, and I told her no. And that's all you have to do with her. She picks up on everything pretty quickly. So oh, I got problems. I had to get some fans. I'm hoping that this one's just a light, but the other one was, look at that. It just won't stay on. I'm hoping it's just the light bulb itself, but I have a funny feeling it's not. It seems like we must have had a power surge and it did something to the things that run the light. I use this Jimmy Dean's, and I don't know why they don't have this stuff everywhere, but this is Jimmy Dean Country Mild, and this is by far, like, I used to get sage and hot. Depends on what I'm feeling. Each one gives you a little bit different flavor of your gravy when you make biscuits and gravy. But I have actually, started using this Country Mild. This was all they had one time. I actually came across this by mistake, and it was when I was here all the time, and my car was broke down, and I had to order all of my groceries to be delivered at the house. Well, they had ran out of the sage sausage, and I don't do regular Jimmy Dean. I don't know why I don't like the regular Jimmy Dean, but I just don't like the regular Jimmy Dean. I like the flavor Jimmy Dean's. And so apparently they replaced it with my sage with a Country Mild. And so I'm like, crap, I don't know how this is going to taste. I don't know if I'm going to need salt, extra pepper. So I ended up actually cooking the sausage down to make the gravy. And when I started putting the butter, the flour, and the milk in there, and started, because I didn't want to salt it or pepper it until it got more done, because I didn't know how much salt or pepper in it. If I have the same sausage, I know it's, 5 twists here, or 3 twists here. You know what I'm saying? Because I've got these things. So I don't really measure. I just remember the twists. And so I didn't want to over salt, because that's the worst thing you can have is biscuits and gravy that tastes like a freaking ocean, or like they went swimming before you ate it. And then when I had gotten to the end where I was going to gravy everything up, and I tasted the gravy, there was hardly any seasoning I even needed to put in. I just needed like a twist here and a twist there of salt and pepper, and it was done. And it has been one of the most favorite sausages. Now I won't go to a sage. I won't go to a hot. I like my Country Mild, and I can use this in just about everything where I couldn't use the other ones in everything. So that's kind of where you want your sausage. There's my sausage. There's my sausage. Okay, we're going to set this to the side, and now we're going to start on some eggs. I got to get out of your view just a little bit so I can crack my eggs. Where's my basket? There it is. All right. I think I'm going to get one more egg, because I am going to try to feed Glenn too, and I got enough sausage to make 2 and the gravy. So let me get one more egg. After this, the cost of eggs, I got to be honest with you. After the cost of eggs, these rise, I almost want to get a hen house and a rooster. Everybody else does. I walk out at frickin' 3 o'clock in the morning to take Delilah out to use the bathroom, and I can hear roosters crowing at 3 o'clock in the morning. And yesterday I was seeing how long they would crow for, and those mother cluckers, they crowed literally all day yesterday. Every time I walked out, I could hear a freaking rooster somewhere. And I'm thinking, if all my neighbors have freaking roosters and chickens, why can't I have roosters and chickens? It's just another mouth to feed, but I don't know. Hopefully I'm not too loud. I can't tell with this new microphone. I'm gonna have to go back and review everything. And not only that, but I was reading an article. I think I mentioned this the other day. I was reading this article about eggs. Our Justice Department's now involved in this because they're asking the egg producers, like, what gives the avian flu or whatever it is that, bird flu, whatever, shouldn't have affected the eggs this much. And so they're barking back saying, wait, we're not the ones that are making these eggs higher. It's the grocery stores. So they're blaming all of this on the grocery stores. And so they're like, well, we're going to get to the bottom of this, We're going to figure it out and get to the bottom of this. Somebody needs to tell the government why your egg prices are so high, because it seems like they're gouging people. And the way I'm taking it, I'm sorry, I hear things a little differently. If they're blaming the stores instead of themselves for this price hike, then obviously they are also concurring that there's somebody hiking up egg prices for Americans. So I'm interested in finding out, this I think is just when the U.S. Department of whatever, justice or whatever got involved. I think that was just a warning shot, letting them know that, even our government's starting to pay attention. So if you're doing any hinky stuff, I'd knock it off. So I do believe there's going to be some type of prices coming down to normal over the next 2 to 6 months. They're going to try to hold the pricing out as long as possible, in my opinion, because we just got greedy corporations in America. But I'm a capitalist, and I believe in the greedy corporations of America, and I believe everybody has their rights to go out and start their own business and do things the way that they see fit to make money for them. This is America. We have a lot of freedoms, whether we like it or not. So do corporations, We can't expect to have those freedoms and take them away from somebody else. So we're free to do whatever we want, but they have to do it within what they consider the confines of good business practices, right? Good business practices, not scamming the people, not gouging the people. But I don't see them doing that to Big Pharma. Do you see them doing that to Big Pharma? Being so involved? I mean, think about, drug prices, if they would get this involved in everything else, right? I mean, when it takes you $2 less than, or how about this, 30 cents, and you're selling that drug for $120 a pill, I think that's price gouging. Just me personally. But it seems like we're okay in the pharmaceutical market, but when it starts hitting something everybody uses. I mean, think about it. Eggs are something you can't live without. It makes our breads. It makes our pies. I mean, eggs literally make it's almost in just about every single product we eat in one way or another. So your hot skillet. Yeah, it's not really hot. I got to wait for it to get hot. So got to wait for the eggs to start, and then we're going to bring that back. Actually, I need to probably replate that now so I can see how much oil I've got left over. Yeah, I don't really have that much oil, but I think it's going to be enough to brown the 2 burritos. And then after we brown the 2 burritos, then I'm going to keep some of the sausage aside and make some gravy to top the burritos with. That should only take about 5 minutes. And then we'll just put them in the microwave, warm them up just ever so slightly, and put some gravy on them, and then they're done. And then I'll take it over to Glenn, and he'll say, oh my goodness, look how large this is. I'm not going to be able to eat it all. And I'll tell him, save it for later. Okay, so we got that part. Okay, eggs are finally starting to scramble a little bit. Actually, I can probably do something else while we wait and probably start getting these ready. Let's get a spoon. So other than that, what are you guys all doing this Sunday? I've heard some people I've got some videos coming out. I've got to finish them up today. I've got probably about 2 or 3 videos coming out about the Sebastian Rogers case. And of course, any case I find in the news, I've been putting out. Okay, I think that's about enough. Maybe a little bit more. Oops. Apparently that one wanted to be in this one. All right. So I think we got, well, maybe just a little more in this one. All right. I think we're good there. I'm going to go ahead and put the cheese on. Oops. A little bit of salt on these. All right, let me get the cheese put on this. Get this off the heat just for ever so slightly. Now I'm still going to be putting these, even after we do everything that we're going to do with them, I'm still going to put these in the microwave just for probably 20 seconds before I top it off with gravy, because eggs cool down very quickly. Actually, do I want to? Yeah, I think I do want to use this one for the gravy. Nah, that's too much. I hope everybody's if you guys are coming in, I'm almost done. I'm just trying to get some food cooked, and once I have the food cooked, then I will, I'll sit down and we'll chat about true crime while I stuff my face, which some people have a problem with me stuffing my face online, but I really don't care because it's my show, and that's how we roll. If you want to do something, do it. Don't let anybody stand in your way. So that's what we're doing. Milky milk, milky milk. Get some butter in here. All right, guys. Now we're just about ready. Where's my cheese? Did you guys eat my cheese? Why am I not seeing my cheese? Did I put it back in the fridge already? I sure did. You weren't ready to put the cheese back in the fridge. These are cubed. Where did my cheese go? I feel like I lost my... There it is. I found it. Good gracious. Tell you, I'm getting senile. I'm going to be the next Wendy Williams. You guys are going to be locking me up in a memory ward. All right. Let's wrap these bad boys up. Let's wrap these bad boys up. There's one. This way. All right, there's two. I got two of them done. Oh, and I got egg. All right. I don't want to make too much, but I want to make enough that it'll thicken up right. All right. Dad, burn it. Just used it, and I guess I knocked the top off of it. Wait until that gets hot. All right, guys, it's nice to see you. For all the people that are tuning in, yes, I have a mess in my kitchen. I am making sausage, egg, and cheese burritos. I will be keeping one, and I will be taking one over to my neighbor, which is very, very lucky to have me as a neighbor because I cook great food. I cook great food. And it's the one time, the few times a week whenever I cook that I know he's getting at least a nutritious meal. He does cook for himself, so I don't want him to sound like an invalid. He does cook for himself, but single, elderly people. He's like 70 something years old, and he eats what's simple and easy most of the time. Does he take time to really cook sometimes? Yes, he does, but most of the time it's quick and easy stuff, and that's what I worry about, is the quick and easy stuff. So once this gets a little hot, we'll go with the first burrito. Kind of did this backwards. I was going to do it in this dish, but there wasn't really a whole lot of gravy, sausage gravy. So, all right, we're getting a little thicker over here. So let me dab a little bit more in here. Okay. So did you, who all saw that the Sebastian's mom's husband, we have a child that's been missing for literally over a year. We've never really seen the mom or her husband really out there doing anything significant to, move the needle, begging with, workers at local, kind of like Riley Strain's mom, where you saw them, stopping the owners of their establishments and making them look at their security footage. We never got any of that from the mom or the father. And that's always been odd to me because they're military trained. And I know what military trained people are willing to do for their children. They're willing to do for their children what they do for us, the American people, to keep us safe. And it's their family. So they don't need to be paid to protect their family, search for their family, take their military training, put that to use, and making maps, telling people where they can go to search, cordoning off areas, assigning search people, a search crew to each cordoned off area, just simple things that you would learn as let me taste this. A little bit more salt and we're good. That's what I love about that sausage. That sausage literally flavors everything. Just a little more salt. Okay, I think okay, that's good. Okay, so we got our gravy done. Now is our first burrito. I may not have to throw it in the microwave. May not have to throw it in the microwave at all. We'll see. We'll see. Need some weight. I don't have a smasher or musher thing, so I use a plate. I'll end up washing the plate. Since they're clean plates, I know people are going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe you put a plate on it. Well, they're washed in a dishwasher. They're hand towel dried. They're put away in a clean case. So I guess it'd be no different than any other utensil you use in your kitchen, right? You use food on it. The only bad part is picking it up. It's hot. Boom, boom, boom. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. That was a good crust on it too, huh? You don't need that much time on each of them. The only thing is the hands. Ouch, the hands. It hurts the hands. Turn that upside down. The top keeps coming off that. I wonder why. Tell me that doesn't look good. Oh, yeah. All right. I'm almost ready to take my neighbor's plate, and then you guys are going to be alone for yourself for a while. And I lost my damn cheese again. There it is. Good gracious. I'm losing my snizit. Okay, that should be just about done. Yep. Come on, flip, flip, flip. Oh, I burnt that one. I got mine burnt. That's okay. That's good. I burnt mine a little bit, but nothing that a little... Ouch. I was trying to too busy plating the other one. It's not burnt too bad. But it is a lot darker. I got mine a little bit darker, but it's not burnt. It's just brown. That one I'd like better, but that's the one we have. All right, guys, let me go take my neighbors over to him, and then we'll come back and eat. If you guys haven't had time to get yourself some breakfast or some coffee, now's a great time to do that. All right, I'll be right back, y'all. Give me just a few moments. Here's your breakfast.
What's going on now? Oh my God.
Breakfast burrito.
Look at you, look at you, look at
Enjoy. I burnt my feet. You might. All right, I am back. He was out watering his plants. Now let's dive into this. My slightly well done exterior of a burrito. Let me see if I can pull you guys down to my level. Ugh. There we go. We'll see. Guess maybe it'll probably do me some good to shadow. It is packed. I got everything packed. Packed to the gills. All right, let me keep lowering you. I don't want to break the Sometimes it's hard to get you guys down once I'm. Can you guys still hear me? Could you guys hear me all the way across the street? Did it crackle, or did you guys hear it? I'm curious because I walked all the way over there with the microphone. It's still green. I bet you heard me. I forgot about the microphone. And I holler. I'm sorry, but I holler because he's hard of hearing at times. But he enjoys it. That's what we do. We just kind of, he makes something, he'll bring me over something. He knows I don't eat a lot, so I asked him not to sit because he used to, because they're on fixed incomes. You know what I'm saying? He's on a fixed income. And so I don't want him bringing me more food than I can eat because it goes in the trash. I'd rather him pay, maybe, feed another neighbor instead of giving me double serving. All right, here we go. Let's try a Betty burrito. Betty breakfast burrito. Let's see if this tastes good. It does. I think, I forgot to put cheese on my top. But it's still good anyways. I put cheese on Glenn's. It got dark, but it didn't get like burnt. It gave it some flavor, honestly. But it's not like burnt. Okay. Now that I'm done stuffing my face, it is good. It was very simple. You guys watched me do it. How long did it take me to do it? I don't think it took me that long. But I need to remember after the first burrito, turn the burner off for the second one because I'm still in the process of preparing the first one. I need to slow the cooking. But if you ever need weights and you don't have like a press, I've got a press, but I didn't feel like cleaning it. It's a cast iron press. And if you know anything about cast iron that doesn't get utilized over time, it starts getting a rust on it. So you have to re-season it. That means you have to wash it. You have to scrub it. You've got to season the press because it's a cast iron press. So I didn't have time to do all that. So the next best things is what you're doing with a press is its weight, right? So I burnt my finger right there, that red spot right there. I burnt my finger using the plates. That's the only bad thing about it is you got to keep your hands out of the plates and off the edges of the pan. The plates they'll warm up, but they won't really get that hot if you move quickly. You just use it for the press and pull it up. But what got me on my finger was the side of the pan. So I wasn't paying attention to the side of the pan, and I ended up getting the side of the pan. So, excuse me. Okay. So I have some things that I wanted to go over with you guys. Then the food is good. Exactly. Sounds dangerous, of course. Are you kidding me? I surround myself with people that probably did terrible things to one another. Okay, this kitchen danger is welcome danger, right? I know I might hurt myself a little bit, but I get to eat afterwards. Okay, I get a treat. Out there in the real world, where we do our work, it is ultra, ultra, ultra dangerous. Because we come across murderers and people that did terrible things. I don't think people understand how, and that's why I have such a big problem when people disclose locations. To me, they're intentionally trying to hurt somebody. There's no other excuse for it than that, trying to intentionally, because our job out there in the field's already dangerous enough. At any time, somebody that we're looking into, or the case we're looking into, could sneak up behind you at any given time and whack you, right? And you be just another victim. These things happen. Never mind the travel. I do a lot of driving. At any time, somebody could be irresponsible on the road, and that's it. So there's a lot of dangers in my current profession, lots of dangers. We don't need anybody adding to those dangers at all. Oh, thank you, Carrie. Thank you. Yeah, some of the things that we do is just getting to the bottom of things. We want to want to get a lay of the land. The lay of the land allows us to visualize what could have taken place in certain areas. It also allows us to visualize, like for example, with Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, specifically where all the camera footage and angles would be, as well as at this point when we went out there, we had already had the lights video that was released by Nick Barris with Channel 5 that looked to implicate something, at minimum, that there was activity in and around the time a 15-year-old boy disappeared out of his home. So that is absolutely, without a doubt, a clue. And then we know what we saw, and the information that law enforcement tried to give us, we knew that it was more of a clue than they'd like to have admitted, because they were working overtime to try to discredit that video and make us believe that it was just mere garbage truck. I'm still unsure what the purpose of that was. I think the more appropriate response would have been no comment. We have nothing to say about the photo. We don't know what it could mean at this moment. That would have been a perfectly reasonable explanation. I certainly would have found comfort in it, but what I didn't find comfort in is knowing that a law enforcement body was intentionally misleading the public, which they're entitled to do. This is an investigation of a child, and we don't want anything ever jeopardizing that that integrity of the case. But we've also seen a lot of law enforcement bodies around the country handle those questions without deceiving the public. Most notably, we have a Moscow Police Department, which when things were getting crazy, they at least started letting people know who was clear, because there were so many potential suspects. I think they could have cleared those people without, showing their hand on who they were targeting or who they were looking into. And in this case, there's so few potential suspects or persons of interest that this is just my opinion. This is just my common sense saying that this is what it means to me. And it just seems like in this case, they don't have that option, because there are so few people in and around this boy's life that had motive, means, and opportunity. And with him being inside a locked home that has no signs of forced entry in it, really almost even eliminates more people, right? Because they did do tests on that house. We know that 2 weeks after, because Miss Bobby told us, we believe all this stuff going on in the neighborhood as true when Miss Bobby tells us, except when she starts telling us stuff that the people that are taking up for the parents and trying to run interference in a case, obstructing a case. We realize they're picking and choosing what they wish to believe from Miss Bobby, and you either believe her or you don't. But it's hard to say she's being truthful about this but not being truthful about that, because what purpose would she have to lie? I mean, at the end of the day, everybody wants to call her a busybody. I mean, I don't know how you would act if something like this happened in your neighborhood, but I know that I would act a lot like her, or even more, if this happened in my neighborhood. When Stephanie Shenafield went missing, we did step in. We did start looking for her. We didn't care whose toes we stepped on. She was a member of my community. She was a bartender that had served me when in my 20s. I didn't know her personally, but I knew her. And I did not realize that, because she was always such a happy person. I never realized that she was on, substances. I didn't see that in her when she was on her shifts for when I was there. But for me, I was usually, by the time I made it to the bar that she worked at, I was pretty lit. So would I have noticed it? Would I not have noticed it? I don't know, But I do remember her being my server very vaguely, because by the time she went missing, this had been many, many, many years later. So, but even, this is what I've got to say. Even her roommate was very nervous. He had no teeth. He's been in prison. They clearly all had a substance abuse problem. And he was very nervous. And he almost drove his bike into the lake, like this retaining pond. But I guess it wasn't as large as a lake, but it wasn't as big as a pond. So I guess it was just a retaining pond over there. And I remember him being so nervous because everybody was looking at him, because he kept trying to interject when the girls were talking about Stephanie. And this was with the mainstream media and everything. And so we thought it was really a red flag type of situation. But we are forgetting to add an element of, people that have skeletons in their closet, but didn't do certain things, they will still exhibit some red flags, that what you perceive to be red flags. And so you want to keep your eye on that person, but it doesn't conclusively mean that that person is responsible. So you always have to have that in the back of your head, that, are you analyzing this person correctly? Could this be attributed to some type of bias they have about themselves? And yes, I mean that. And what do I mean by bias about themselves? So when you're facing with somebody disappearing, most likely dead, and you've had this horrible record, and people are going to look directly at you, you get nervous that you're going to be the person they pick because you have this terrible record. It's almost like a PTSD, if you will. And so I've seen that in cases, but as Psychic Amelia says, not in this case. And she's right. We don't have those elements in this case. We've got two parents that have been together for, I don't even know when they got married, but clearly 8 years. The boy was 15 at the time. He's 16. And the stepfather said he's been the child's life for half of his life. So why he couldn't just say a year, why he had to say half of his life, it was to put ambiguity out there, because I think everybody has connected the dots that Katie and Chris were most likely having affairs on one another's spouse. So there is that reason why he made a statement like that. I'm a mom, and if my only daughter was missing, I would be everywhere making sure. I know. And you know what? They seem, this is the problem I have. They seem embarrassed. I want you to think about that. They seem embarrassed for people to know that they have a child missing. Most parents want their missing child out there, want to have the level of attention this case is getting. Not all cases get this level of attention. We know that. But this one did. And most parents that are truly trying to find their children, they welcome it and love it. And they also have the right behaviors attributed to those factors as well. These people are, throwing people in jail, putting out protective orders, all the while saying, please post flyers and keep his name out. Those are two totally different behaviors. You're telling people to do this, but then when they do it, you're causing problems. Now, they're wanting people to post flyers, but somehow me posting flyers in their neighborhood was some type of harassment, even though it only happened one time. But how can parents say it's harassment to post flyers on poles that have no flyers in their community when they're asking people to post flyers? Wouldn't you think the first place that needs to show that he's missing is the place he disappeared from? I mean, Michael Monkey Vaughn's mom, Brandy, She has a huge sign outside of her subdivision making sure everybody knows that her child lives in that subdivision. Her child is missing, and please take a look and see if you've seen her child. Why is it such an embarrassment for them to do the same thing or act like they want the same thing done? All we've seen from them is, quite frankly, obstruction. The appearance of wanting to help, but not actually helping. I find that odd. I'm sorry, I do. And then you've got them on calling on Dolly's fictitious turtle game. Like they have time to watch Dolly Vision, but they've never once had time to really, really search for Sebastian or coordinate efforts in the community to search for their son. 2 military trained parents? That's the problem I can't get past. These parents were trained by the military. And not to use their expertise in the aid of bringing their only son back home. That's the part that blows my mind. I think that's the part that blows a lot of people's mind, in addition to not realizing. I mean, they truly are proud of their parenting. They think their parenting is normal. I think that's why they've, had no problem, speaking about it, is because that's normal to them. I come from a pretty messed up home. And when things were good, they were really good. When things were bad, they were really bad. We had a lot of great, amazing times in my household. We had a lot of fun. But when the alcohol was flowing in my house, it was not a good situation. It never turned out to be a good situation. And but we had a lot of fun. And I keep seeing people act like, because they saw, I mean, if you saw our family, you would think we were picture perfect, probably would idolize my childhood, quite frankly. I kind of idolize my childhood now that I see my adulthood. Right? So, but it was still very, very, very traumatic. And I don't want people being blinded that just because you have good pictures and pictures of a normal family doesn't necessarily mean, when that camera is put away, that that's truly what you have behind those doors. Because I can assure you, we had a lot of stuff we shoveled under the rug in my house, and it royally screwed me up for a really long time. And it's even my older sister, she's got a lot of issues from our childhood as well, because you go from good to very traumatic very quickly, especially when the alcohol is pouring. And that is, it's hard, because you don't know when those outbursts are going to happen. And that's the scary part, of living, well, with somebody that has, outbursts. And I don't know how to explain it other than that. Of course, they know where he is. Same here. That's why I needed therapy. I got to tell you, one of the best therapeutic things I had was CANA, AA. You don't have money for therapists. I know there's people in my chat that says they don't have money for therapists. I had a person that was in our one of our groups that didn't. His life was just unmanageable, and he wasn't a drinker. He wasn't a drug person, but or a substance abuse person. But he came into the rooms because his life was out of control. And he couldn't afford therapy. And he went there and worked on his life skills with a sponsor without even having, but there were other things, because he was there was something that was causing his life to be unmanageable and stuff like that. So whatever him and his sponsor worked on, but he still stood up there and said, my name's so-and-so, I'm an alcoholic. When he was in the rooms for AA, and when he was in the rooms for CA, he was, hi, my name's so-and-so, I'm, a cocaine addict, and, whatever. And that's kind of how you did whatever room you're in. I mean, it's still the same design. So you're not going to go to a CA meeting and say you're an alcoholic. You got to kind of blend with the whatever the substance is, right? It's hard to explain, but that's one of my first experiences was a completely sober, what we consider a sober person going to the rooms for help. It happens all the time. Fantastic support, and groups and organizations fully support anyone wanting to change their life. Yeah, that's it. The only request that they ever have is, don't stand up and say you don't. You got to stand up and whatever you're there. If you're an alcoholic and never touch substances, if you're going to a CA, and why you're probably saying, well, why do you have to go to a CA? Because sometimes when you're visiting a different place, there's meetings all over. Many people don't realize how many meetings are all over the United States. There's a lot. And so sometimes if you're out of town and you're doing your 90 meetings in 90 days, or you're just a continued person that goes to meetings just so you don't get complacent, you have to, sometimes there's not a meeting in an available time that you can go to the out of town meeting or whatever. So sometimes you just need a meeting, and the only thing going on is a CA or an NA meeting. Well, you're going to grab those, right? You're going to go to those meetings because that's what's going on right now, and you need to get into a meeting right now. So those are, there's some, and then if you're in a sober living environment, you have to go to all of them because they have to touch everybody in that, and they can't leave just one person going to this meeting and everybody else going to this meeting. So those are just kind of the stuff. But if you're having some major meltdowns and you don't even suffer from substance abuse or alcohol abuse, you still may want to go try to do 90 meetings in 90 days. I got to tell you, believe it or not, it costs you about $1 a meeting, and you don't even have to pay that if you're broke. They pass around a little bowl, and usually everybody throws in $1. But if you haven't been to one, even Al-Anon meetings are really good as well. And those are because a lot of people, believe it or not, are addicted to their significant other's addiction. That they don't leave because they're addicted to the chaos. And sometimes Al-Anon helps as a support system for those that are living with people that abuse them. So pick whatever will help motivate your life better. And I hope one day the stigma about substance abuse is, realized, because it is a disease. One that is self-created. It's a disease that is self-created without a doubt, in my opinion. I don't know if the experts would. I mean, they believe that it's an addictive makeup. Who it doesn't really matter. People that have a certain makeup are addicted to something, whether it's sex, gambling, substances, other things. They're addicted to something. So, but I do believe that you can never be a substance abuse user or food. Yep, MJ. Yep, food. You never be a substance abuse user if you never try it in the first place. But the problem is we are humans, and as we grow, we experience new things, and it's the experience side of us as we're learning that gets us caught into some of these issues. And so that addictive personality ends up going down the wrong path, where somebody may experience with it, don't like it, move on. But Congratulations, 17 years. 17 years. I was talking to some people because we were doing that treatment center here in the county, and they had already moved in, got their administrative order and everything, and then a code enforcer didn't want it in his neighborhood and decided to cause all of this hell on this company that just wanted to, do substance abuse in peace. And people are so stereotypical of what treatment centers truly are, residential treatment centers. And quite frankly, I don't even consider it a residential treatment center either, but I don't consider it a group, whatever they were trying to call it. But I do think it was, in part it was more of a sober living environment because they don't pass out medications or anything else like that. Kind of like where I was at the Tammy house in 2007. So that's the way I look at it, And I know that the neighbors, when that first set up in Northport, didn't like it either. But we worked through it, and lo and behold, God willing, that we were there, and we were there for years. So, Seth in the chat, nice to see you, my friend. I am having sausage, egg burrito, sausage, egg, and cheese burrito with a little bit of sausage gravy on top. I had to make the sausage gravy. It really made the burrito pop. So, and I wanted to come here and hang out with you guys for a little bit because it's Sunday, and I really don't do a whole lot on Sunday. Even after this, I'm just going to clean up the kitchen. And I'm chilling with my dog. And my dog, you guys don't realize that throughout the week, I wish you guys could be, and one day maybe we'll do it, behind the scenes with Betty, so you get to see what I do all day. And I'm literally stuck in front of a computer for over 10 hours a day, or on my phone searching and reviewing and sending stuff here, sending stuff there. You guys have no idea how much work we do. And so my dog is a very, very well-mannered, very good dog that behaves very, very well. And when I'm working, she just kind of stays quiet and doesn't, I take her out throughout the day to make sure she can go to the potty, make sure she goes out and gets her exercise. We play ball in the backyard. I've even been caught chasing her around the front yard just to get her to run some of the energy out of her, But she doesn't get to spend much time with me. She's here with me, but when I'm not running my show from in the living room, which you guys know I haven't been, I've been doing it in the living or in the office. When I do it in the office, she doesn't really come in there because the way I sit in the chair, it's uncomfortable for her. She doesn't have a little piece. She can kind of sliver up next to me on the side because the chair, fits my body. And so she doesn't like it. So she doesn't really come in there and bother me. So what she does is she ends up staying out here playing with some toys until she's bored with her toys. And then she lays in her bed or gets on the couch and lays on the couch until I pop my head out. And so today's her day that she kind of gets me all to herself. Yesterday was supposed to be that day because it's my best friend's day, but she had to work late. And by the time I got the show running and got the show ended and everything like that, it was like 3:30 by the time I was, would have even been ready to walk out. And then I wouldn't even have gotten there to 4, and I had to be back here by 3, or excuse me, had to be back here by 6:30. And so I just couldn't do it yesterday. So today I think her and I are going to watch a movie and just spend time together. I'm just going to baby her because she hasn't been babied in several days. So that's the plan for me. So if I'm going to be working, so if there is some breaking news, I'll let you guys know. Oh, I do need to go through some of the stuff that I held off for the show. Sorry. Now that we're sitting down, I have a whole show planned, but I haven't really talked about it. Let's see what we got here. Oh, yes, we've got a new sad story. 2 adults are in custody following the death of a 4-year-old girl in Toombs County Sheriff's Office investigates a homicide, and this is in Georgia. They arrested them almost immediately. The Toombs County Sheriff's Office is investigating the homicide of a 4-year-old girl. At around 7:46 p.m. on Friday night, the Toombs County Sheriff's Office got a call referencing an unresponsive child. According to the Sheriff's Office, the caller said she was on her way to the hospital from their home. Toombs Montgomery EMS was then dispatched for the call and intercepted the vehicle at an in-market convenience store in Lyons. EMS immediately took the child into their care and began life-saving measures on the way to Vidalia Hospital. Officials say the 4-year-old girl was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the hospital. The Toombs County Sheriff's Office then contacted GBI for assistance. 2 individuals were arrested following a joint investigation. 26-year-old Seth Hunter Brown and 29-year-old Taylor Marie Hughes are both charged with felony murder, malice murder, cruelty to children in the first degree, a felony, and aggravated battery. They are both now in custody at the Toombs County Detention Center. The Toombs County Sheriff's Office said this is an ongoing investigation in a press release. Toombs County Sheriff Jordan Knight extended his condolences to the family. I would like to extend my deepest condolences to the families during this difficult time. I ask that you keep them in your thoughts and prayers in the days to come, wrote Sheriff Knight. If you have any information about the investigations, call Toombs County Sheriff's Office at 912-526-9292. District Attorney for the Middle Judicial Circuit of Georgia, Trip Fitzner, expressed his feelings in a social media post. It reads, I have seen a lot of social media posts about this case. It is a heart-wrenching situation. I lack the words to express the magnitude of this tragedy. Whether you know the families involved or not, it affects us deeply in a visceral level, at a very visceral level. We are working with law enforcement on this. I can tell you, Sheriff Knight has devoted every resource his office has to the investigation of this case. I know a lot of folks are hurting, but please trust the process, give it a chance, and keep the family of all those involved in your prayers. A lot of folks are hurting, wrote Fitzner. Here are the pieces of crap. I'm sorry. I judge people. I judge people. I judge people. Why isn't it ever, except that lady that held her son captive, why isn't it ever put people that appear to be put together? Okay? I know people are going to say whatever they're going to say about Bullhorn Betty. I don't care. I speak how I feel. And, I feel like a lot of other people feel the same way I do. They just are too, they have too many manners to speak it for themselves. Well, I'm a rude person. I don't mind stepping on toes, but I say it like it is. I try not to be rude, but apparently in our today's society, assertiveness is being rude. Just saying. So those are the peaches that like to abuse a 4-year-old little girl. Now, usually I wouldn't say anything a whole lot about this, but at the end of the day, they're charged with animal cruelty. Child cruelty. That's the problem that gets to me. That's what makes me believe that this is not an isolated incident. What did that 4-year-old little girl go through? And let me guess, this is probably not even this child's father. I don't know that for a fact. I'm definitely without a doubt, assuming that. And this person could most likely be that child's father. But for whatever reason, I just don't believe it. I think that this person is a step-parent of some sort, a mom's boyfriend, and she just loves him. I don't know why I feel that way, but I do. I wanted to let you guys know, if you guys don't know.
This is video from our sister station in Birmingham, and you can see the ceiling of that building is now on the floor inside the classroom. Meanwhile, hours before, rain picked up in Metro Atlanta. Weather Service employees at the agency's Birmingham, Alabama office forced to abandon operations and take shelter themselves. Just a few minutes later, the team tweeted that they were back. Powerful storm hit the central part of Alabama and knocked down trees and power lines. Unclear if this damage was caused by a tornado.
People in the northeastern part of Arkansas.
All right. We have a huge and a ferocious weather storm going through, I guess, what we would assume is the Midwest, all the way down to Alabama. We've received reports of a massive fire in Oklahoma. I've seen stuff hitting Oklahoma as far as weather, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kansas rather. And it looks like it's a front that goes all the way down, all the way to Alabama, which, as we know, is in the southern part of the United States. And so we've got tornadoes and just heavy wind and rain happening. And I'm hoping that today is a little better, but as it's coming this way, it looks like it's approaching the Big Bend of Florida, and they've got a big red, mark through the Big Bend of Florida. So I anticipate there being some pretty significant rains hitting the panhandle to the Big Bend of Florida, in that direction, kind of like the way, was it Milton, that kind of went through like Cedar Key and, kind of at the Big Bend. That's where it's going to be as well for this. So I expect to get some, rain and wind here. When I walk out, there's a huge breeze blowing. My screen door felt like it was about to rip off the freaking hinges just a little bit ago when the wind caught it out of my hands. So we got a lot of wind today. So just be careful, guys. If we're having all of this tornado watch in Pennsylvania, hey, River, it's nice to see you, love. So River's saying we got some tornado watches in Pennsylvania. And I know that there's been some major devastations that rocked Oklahoma. I know there's some natural disasters going on, I believe, in Kansas and all the way down. So please, if you're in those areas, keep your weather radios by you, and please take precautions as soon as humanly possible. We don't want to be having to search for one of our own, but I will. If one of you make sure you let everybody know in your family that call Bullhorn Betty. I will come out and search for you. So, all right. So that's that. We got a lot of weather. That was just to remind me to tell you guys to, about the weather issues and patterns going on in the country. We may go over it a little bit more. I got a little more information about the Penn student, Sadiqa Sadiqa. I can never pronounce her name properly, but I probably am pronouncing it properly. It just doesn't want to roll off my tongue like it should. And there's a lot of information kind of coming out. I kind of understand why they're having a hard time determining whether or not the Iowa student is a suspect or not. And it's because of the surf where they were. Several people have died, from the type of currents that they were dealing with that night. Maybe the lies is him wanting to be more heroic than he was. He may have just couldn't see her, couldn't save her, and saved himself. But that, sounds horrible when said out loud. So he may have, put together this, I tried to help her, try to get her to shore, and maybe he did do all that. Maybe she had a little bit of dry drowning. Maybe she went unconscious and a wave took her out. We don't know. But there's enough evidence, known about the currents in that area that what he's describing could be probable. That's the problem. Law enforcement and as quite frankly, as well as me, I'm not saying anything negative about this boy. I'm not trying to imply one thing or another about this boy. I'm very concerned about, the multiple statements and variations of his statements, but I have a good reason to dismiss some of that because we know that they were very highly intoxicated. And that would explain 100% for the failing memory of specific details. I'm sorry, it just would. We saw the videos ourselves. We know that they were down in the lobby, kicking them back. We know that Sadiqa was vomiting before she ever made it out to the beach. She was highly intoxicated. They all were highly intoxicated. So it's making it very hard. This is not one of those cases that you just know, right? This is one of the cases that there's enough evidence and information to support the boy's claim. But at the end of the day, he was the last one that saw her. He was the last one that had any type of contact with her. We know that boys and girls on these things get drunk and do things that they sometimes regret. We don't know who this kid is, if he has violence in his history. I have to be honest with you, most people that I find that have exerting, you know, activities such as wrestling are not mean people in real life. Just because it's, oh, he's a wrestler, he could have done this and he could have done, yes, he could have. But I find that people that get that exercise regularly are not so uptight. It's just my experience. Not that it's always true, but there's just people that exert some, the energy that it takes to work out and to practice and to exert yourself, even wrestling someone. You find people are a little, especially at their age. Maybe if they were younger and 14, something like that, maybe the kid would been more of a, you guys can't beat me, kind of a bragging type of thing. But I think as we get older, we're more proud than we are boastful. So young man does need to be questioned for sure. Oh, he's been interrogated a lot. He's been interrogated a lot, guys. And that's what brings me back to this. I'm gonna read this whole post to you guys because I think it's very important. Joshua, we're going to call him Josh because I don't know how to pronunciate his last name. And Josh is an easy name that can roll off my tongue. So Josh faced an intense 4-hour interrogation by the Dominican Republic's top law enforcement official. So their top law enforcement official actually flew in to question him. That's her right there. Marking the most significant legal hurdle in the case of the missing woman. The Attorney General, that's who I just showed you, Yenny Reynoso, personally arrived at Rio Republica Hotel in Punta Cana on Saturday afternoon to question Josh. At the last known person deceased, Sudiksha, before she vanished on March 6th. Josh had not been named as a suspect, but remains under 24/7 police surveillance at the resort. Having surrendered his passport, authorities summoned him from his room around 3 p.m. and for yet another grueling round of questioning, which lasted until 7 p.m. So this is multiple interrogations that he's underwent in a different country. I'm sorry, but if this had happened to me, I wouldn't have waited a week or two. I would have immediately lawyered up, and I will tell you guys that right up front. I would immediately, and I mean immediately, lawyer up. You're in a different country, and I don't know what's going on. My first instinct would be to make sure that I'm protected at all costs. Okay. When it comes to other countries and stuff, that you don't play. You don't play. I definitely I think he should have lawyered up a lot sooner than he did, but it sounds like he's lawyered up now. Either way, I'm just a human being. Okay, I'm just telling you, speaking frankly with you, whether you think he's guilty or not doesn't really matter. Anybody in another country that has an issue like this going on should immediately reach out to counsel. Period. You're an American citizen. You don't know what's going on. Countries wouldn't mind having a few of us in their jails. Okay, I'm just saying, be careful. So later that night, Josh was subjected to yet another interrogation that stretched past midnight, intensifying investigation over his role in the unfolding mystery. So they are grilling him. I can guarantee this is probably especially if what he's saying is true, this has probably got to be one of the most terrifying things of this boy. He got to remember he's a young boy too, and we have no proof of any criminality from him, guys. We just don't. And had it not been for the advisory warnings in that area, had it not been for what he's describing, And had it not been for them talking about how many other people have died in that stretch of beach over the last several years because of the same conditions that they were exhibiting that night when they went into the water, I would say that there would probably be more, more leaning toward Josh did something. Um, but I think Josh is only guilty of saving himself and not somebody else. The way it looks to me at this moment, I know that it's highly suspicious. um, we can't dismiss that. So we are always keeping that in the back of our head to wait for something to reveal itself. But right now, his story outside of the changes. Now we have problems with changes in the story, but I can justify those changes in my head. And if I can justify those changes in my head with the current situation, then I can't look past that until more information is available. So what we need, uh, something, a footprint going someplace that it shouldn't be. But it's my understanding they opened that beach up almost immediately after they were done with their investigation. That whatever evidence that they would have missed, and we know that they miss evidence. I mean, Gabby Petito, a perfect example. So if I really wish they wouldn't have done that until they processed it. Maybe they did process it as much as it was going to be processed. I don't know. We're not there. Um, it's just it's a sad story. And I have to be honest with you. I don't want to think this young man went to a different country to unalive a girl. I just don't see that being the case. And I have to trust my instinct in some of this as well. And my instinct is not leading me to believe that he didn't show any violent tendencies. It sounded like he was looking to get lucky, and that is where a lot of people are having the problems, because we all conclude, and can confirm that, without confirming it, but just by the details of the case, it sounds like they were getting their privacy so they could have some tender moments together. Just my opinion. Okay. She's a pre-med student. Okay. This is not shocking, how these things happen. Okay. In college students, I'm sorry. It is what it is, whether parents want to acknowledge it or not. That's not my problem. I'm just letting you know how it is. So it sounds like they were going out there to try to, have some alone time. Their friends were with them. They probably saw them kissing or really wanting to, just have some privacy, and they gave them the privacy, and they probably went in to the water. I can kind of visualize all of this as it's being described. And so I can justify them being in the water. Would this kid violently R her? I mean, I don't know him. Yeah, he could. Let's be honest. He absolutely could have. But I just feel like at this point we would have had some people that he's hurt in the past breaking their silence by now, or having something coming out bad about him, something being leaked here related to Joshua or somebody else's experience with Joshua, or maybe he's very violent when he's intoxicated. We haven't had none of those leaks yet, not on either side. Not on either side. And when it comes to our young kids, they're very impressionable and they do dumb shit, like get in the water that has an advisory. And so I'm conflicted on this case. I'm very hopeful that he's not responsible, because he's one of our kids, guys. At the end of the day, he's an American citizen. He comes from one of our universities. And I just don't want, that to be the case. But just because I don't want it to be the case doesn't mean that it can't be the case, right? I don't want to think of any of our college age students having that in their heart enough that they can take somebody's life. That bothers me greatly, and people don't realize how much that bothers me, but that does bother me greatly, to think that our youngsters have that much hate in their heart. And we know that some of them do. We watch them do terrible things. We've watched, the mass gunning, mass shootings and all this other stuff. And they're usually carried out by 20 somethings, instead of them being in college and doing good to change their future. They're stuck in their past and they take it out on everybody around them. And so I just really don't, I'd like to see thriving and well situated young adults. And this is kind of not a very well situated young adult situation. Um, would she be alive today if they had not gone in the water? I truly believe that would be the case. And that's so unfortunate. But she should be surfacing soon, and we can conclude that she's going to be most likely miles away from where she went into the water, especially with that rough of surf where it's dragging people out to sea. This is really that means that the water is really, really moving. And she could literally be anywhere on that peninsula, you know. She could be caught up and under some debris, because if the water is moving that fast, you know, things kind of tumble over each other and stuff like that under the water. And sometimes people can get pinned down by debris, such as, you know, heavy logs that sink to the bottom or something to that effect, you know, that could cause somebody to be lodged underneath. It is believed that that happened to Riley Strain, you know, that he was the reason why he wasn't easily found is because he ended up getting covered under some floating debris. So I don't know. It definitely is a sad situation, but I really hope we're not going to be. I really hope that it's not because of a boy doing something horrible to her, you know, just a stupid decision. Um, just sad. She had a lot of promise and but I definitely believe she's deceased, no matter where she is, unless she, you know, I shouldn't make that, because if she isn't found, it does give us hope that maybe she was abducted. But I just don't feel like she was. But you know, there is a conspiracy side of me. I don't ever let it come out to play with you guys too much, but I do have a conspiracy side to me that I always have a side eye certain situations, like, you know, somebody lying in wait. And, you know, I can get very clever in my brain too, but it doesn't, just because I think it doesn't necessarily make it true. And not only that, the majority of the stuff that we think of, typically you wouldn't even be able, like, it's so false. Sorry, I have to adjust my my line. Damn, I can't never seem to adjust it right. But it seems so unreal that even if you try to play the tape through or try to play the evidence through or something like that, there's no way that that could ever conceivably make sense. I've came across some theories like that, but you know, in my conspiracy theory on here is that somebody saw her. You know, we do have a power outage at the hotel. You know, was this like was this ultra planned? You don't know. You don't know. Was there a network working to pick up some girls for their you know, worldwide, you know, storefront? I don't know. Could it something like that happen? Yeah, there's some clever cartels. If there, I mean, think about it. If there's drug cartels, I mean, couldn't we conclude that there probably are HT cartels? People that specialize in this. What do you want? How high? You know, what would you want from this person? Would you want blonde hair, blue eyes? You want olive skin, brown hair? What do you want? Oh, we'll make your order, type of thing. That's why I am terrified to go out of this country, because there is a worldwide organization. We know there's a worldwide organization, and they have to have product for their worldwide organization. We are the product. That's pretty freaking scary. That's pretty freaking scary. So, all right, guys, I love you. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. I will be getting some videos out for you guys today, so please be on the lookout. Plus, we're building up our crime story side. We're doing a lot of breaking news that we don't normally cover on this channel. If you guys are interested in world news around our country, please consider signing up for Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. And we really take our time in getting some of the craziest news going on in our news. Now, these are topics and typically cases we're not going to be really heavily investigating. We will be reporting. That basically means just letting you know what's going on as mainstream media puts it out there. You guys know how I feel about mainstream media. My stance on mainstream media probably will never change anytime soon. So I feel like true freedom of press is here on these social media platforms, and it's given by the real people of this country, not these paid talking heads in many cases. Now, there are some people out there in mainstream media that still have true journalism and true investigative journalism under their belt and know how to do it. And those people I idolize, those people I highly respect, and those are what needs to come back to mainstream media. So anyways, guys, I love you. Have a great day and happy Sunday.